A beautiful morning to you and welcome to the newspaper review right here at Prime Media TV. I am Ayo bringing you the newspaper headlines for today, and as always we have quite a number of headlines to be reviewed with you today. And first we are taking the stories on insecurity. So death toll rises from BORNO suicide bombing. The death toll from the suicide bombing in the Goza area of the BORNO state has increased to 18, an official has said. So the Premium Times reported the multiple explosions allegedly detonated by female suicide bombers suspected to be members of the Boko Haram terrorist group. So one of the female suicide bomber had gone to a marriage ceremony in BORNO State where the bomb detonated. And there was another that was detonated was very close to a general hospital in the state where the bomb had detonated. So according to source, 19 people has been confirmed to be seriously injured and they've been conveyed to Maiduguri in 4 ambulances, while 23 others are waiting for military escorts in the Medical Regimental Services MRS clinic. So this is the development at BORNO State currently as we speak, and it is coming quite as a surprise for a lot of people in Nigeria, because the last time we heard about cases of suicide bombing like this was in 2019, and this is 2024, and we are wondering if there had been something hidden about the suicide bombing before and they just want to retaliate now. But then, as always, I have my co-anchor who will also be analyzing the segment with me, the person of Uwachuku Treasure. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So, since this news broke out, I tried to see quite a number of stories on X, as you all know, people would want to share their reaction. And part of the main things I gather is that the Tinubu supporters are saying that this suicide bombing is actually a distraction from the opposition party to distract the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration to lay more emphasis on the case of insecurity, that they are not seeing much of the good works that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is doing. So I would like to hear your thoughts generally on the suicide bombing and also on what the Tinubu supporters are saying.
Okay, you see, the case of blaming has always been what we witness anytime there is any negative occurrence. But when you want to talk about bombing under the administration of the APC government, it has been even under the past administration, we experienced it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the thing is, this thing has been happening and the government has not come out to say this is or put measures in place. In this same place where this bombing occurred, I read that about 3 different bombing happened within the weekend in that same place. Right. Now, I always say that in a place where we have the military, if we have these enforcement agencies, I believe the areas in the country where we are having security issues majorly should be where the government should deploy them to. All right? No, because you can't just have staffs in a company, and maybe you have a company that have branches, and you have your staff flooded at the headquarters. Meanwhile, you have branch offices where there are issues where their services are best needed. All right, and at the end of the month, these people will be paid. All right. Now we have some regions in Nigeria today where we experience cases of insecurity majorly. Why not the federal government deploy these people to those areas to ensure that we have the Air Force, we have the naval officers, we have people who can combat these things, and it's so bad that we are in Nigeria experiencing and witnessing what is happening, and still we come out to defend what is not true. How can insecurity, bombing, be a case of a distraction? Okay, now, let's assume, or let's take it that it's a plus to distract him. If you're a focused person, if you are doing a thing and you know that you have distractions or certain things are meant to distract you, what are you supposed to do? You tackle your distractions. So if Tinubu's administration is saying, or the supporters of the president, the current president is saying that this thing, which is not just happening, is a distraction to his government, then let him deal with the distraction. He has the capacity. We've heard him say that in his capacity as the government, as the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. In his capacity, he has the power to deploy the enforcement agencies into all these areas. Recently, we heard a story of the purchase of aircraft for the military to combat crime. So let these things be deployed, be discharged, and ensure that this thing is handled. All right. Except there are people in power which we know that are behind this attack, bombing, or this bombing case is not anything near to distraction. It has been happening.
Exactly.
And it cannot be traced to the opposition party.
Okay, so on this note, I'm just wondering, looking at the interval between the last suicide bombing that we had and another case again. The last one we heard of was during the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in 2019, and it was so horrific. So we can just attribute all of these things to cases of insecurity in the country, and the Mr. President already reacted to it. He did not say anything exactly. He didn't speak directly, but it was his spokesperson, Ajurin Galilei, who reacted to the incident. That the incident was horrific and all of that. But then let me first of all pick it from where you spoke on. That was in the case of the supporters who took to their ex handle saying this was just a distraction. And what I'm just saying is that whenever things happen, we don't look at how to tackle it from the root cause. We first of all look at who we are going to blame for this misfortune. This is what we have been seeing that is playing out in Nigeria so far. Now, this is not a time to be blaming anybody or to be attributing fault to anybody. This is the time for we to first be humane. These are the lives of people we are talking about. Some of those reactions, some persons were saying that this is not the first time we'll be hearing about suicide bombing, and they were comparing what is happening in Haiti and what is happening in Gaza, and they have forgotten that we are not having the same issues as the Haitis, as the Gaza people are having in Nigeria. This is a case of insecurity, and this is one of the worst cases that can happen, because these people are not even kidnapping people any longer. They are not kidnapping people for ransom, but they are just killing people. Now, this is not even a case of what they want to happen in the country. This is not a case of them demanding for money for their upkeep or something. This is a case where they are killing people and they want the population to reduce. So this is the first thing that we should undo first, before we now look at who could have been the one that is masterminding all of these things.
The truth of the matter is, there's a different case. What we saw, the story we read, is a case of suicide bombing. All right, there's a difference between that bomb was thrown there. Suicide bombing means that somebody carried the bomb, and definitely the person dies also in
of course.
What could have warranted someone, to carry bomb, to carry out an assignment that will eventually take his or her own life? Now, how much do you think? Do you think someone would just be asked to go on such mission without being well paid? Somebody who knows that my life, how much am I worth? And somebody made an offer. So it is what the government has reduced Nigerians to. When you talk about, for example, I want to say that people who there's a level of comfort you enjoy. You want to say, okay, I'm no longer secure in this environment. Let me move to this estate, because you feel when you have money, we're enjoying life. You know that life is sweet. You wouldn't want to die. All right. Now, you can't tell me that this government has made things easy and people know the benefits, the worth of life, and somebody will be asked to go and bomb a place and eventually die there. All right. Now, what I want to bring out from there is this. somebody, for anything that is working, somebody is making it to work.
Of course.
Somebody is sponsoring these people. And these people are not just being sponsored in little amount, with little amount, right? Somebody is pumping, and that person, those people, the group of people that are doing this, definitely has something behind there's a motive behind their actions.
You know what you just said now, it just what just came to me was the case of jihadists.
Okay.
If this is not a jihad something, there was a time, especially when the suicide bombing was recurring back to back in 2014, 2016, 2019. What these people were clamoring for is jihad. And what then is jihad? Jihad is that people who want, they are fighting for their religion, the Islamic religion, the Islamic religion, and on the long run, the male are promised that when they die for the true cause of the religion, they would be given, I think, about 19 virgins in Jannah when they get to Jannah. And
are they even sure they will get there?
No, that was the promise to them. That was the promise to them. And if you see back to back, the reason why people are carrying out this jihadist thing was as a result of that promise. But then in this case, it is females that detonated this bomb.
Yeah.
The one at the wedding and the one beside the general hospital, they are females. And it is just coming back to me that, according to the story that we read as well, they said the community where this incident occur, the ISWAP group, that's the Islamic State West African Province, they have their stand in that particular community, that they've been staying there for the past 5 years. Now, the question that comes to my head is that if you know that these people have a place they are staying there, why are they still finding comfort in a community like that when you know this is what they are fighting for? And according to some of the community members, yes, they cannot even reach out to them. They cannot even say that let's chase these people away because they have the upper hand. Then it comes back to what you said, that who are the ones sponsoring these people?
And again,
they have to be somebody sponsoring
and
them.
Again, in response to what the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu's supporters are saying, if this thing is actually, let's assume that it is actually meant to distract him, then he has the capacity to deal with the distraction. I said, all over the state in Nigeria, we have the military, we have the police and all the law enforcement. Why can't the federal government deploy these people? If the one in the states can't handle the situation, let the one from the FC, what are they doing in FC? Go, you see the military, everybody flaunting everywhere. Let them release these people. Let them, in this state where we have these cases, let these people be released to combat the situation.
All right, and on that note, we are going to take another story related to it. That was the case of the kidnapping at Ogun State. Let's quickly have the headline. All right, so 20 persons has been confirmed kidnapped in Ogun State, and one of them shot in the knee. Now you see that this is gradually moving from the northern part of Nigeria, because part of the many things that we see sometimes is that not even sometimes, it has been recurring back to back, that the northern area, the northern states are the one being affected by insecurity. And we see that gradually now it is now shifting to
the west.
To the west. Now the question is that what is the federal government doing to all of these things? And I'm actually going to attribute the insecurity currently in Ogun State to the bad roads that they are having. On X over the weekend, there was a woman there was a video of a woman, an old woman. The woman should be in her 70s, or she should be in her 70s with gray hair. She was crying. Why? Because the road is very bad. Because the major road that is linking to the other community are so bad. Just imagine the rate at which these vehicles, look at the space between all of these vehicles, the space at which they are moving. How do you expect that kidnappers would want to perform their act in a place like this, and it will not be speedy to them? So I want to hear your own thoughts on this issue of kidnapping that just occurred in Ogun State as well.
You see, just like I said one time ago here, that when the presidency or Shetima, I don't know if it's the Shetima, no, the president himself said that terrorism is an
Imported
imported
evil.
evil. And I said something that day that why they are calling it imported is this thing they imported it and it has grown wing. It
Of
has gone
course.
out of their control, and we can see now this thing is gradually spreading. It's gradually when something is bad and you don't fix it, it gets worse. All right. Now, if this thing now we're experiencing insecurity in the north, of course, in the southeast, now it's coming to the southwest. It's coming to the. You see, it's now a clear proof
Mm.
that the federal government are not even looking, looking at the problem, the primary, the primary problem that Nigeria is facing.
Yeah.
Now, talking about bad road, it is in. I don't know if this can happen all over Nigeria. That sometimes you see a community road, an individual that is rich would want to fix the
Fix
road,
it.
and some people that claim to or that occupy some non-constitutional position will come out and say they must be paid so millions
Mm.
before that person will carry out the project. You see, the federal government now in this the video where we have the bad road, we have a local government chairman there, and these people get allocations for
Of
roads.
course.
Now, how the thing is that when the error is coming from the top,
Mm.
it will get down.
Mm.
If the error is coming from the federal government, surely to get to the state government,
Mm.
now get to the local government. Now, when there's allocation, certain millions, billions allocated for roads, does the governor take time to check what is happening in the local government? Does the local government the chairman take time to look at that? Is why we have, because the governor cannot be everywhere.
Of
All
course.
right. Now, the local government should be able to carry out and, of course, show evidence of the money he has collected for road projects, video evidence. All right. So that is why we keep on having bad roads everywhere. And, of course, if the road is very free, you don't stand and block a moving train. But when there is traffic, when the road is bad and everybody is just moving slowly, it is easy for you to attack people.
Mm.
Now, talking about bad road, where are we supposed to have police checkpoints? Sometimes you come across some very bad place where we know that it's easy for armed robber or to attack people. There is no police checking point there. Sometimes when you even see the police checking point, is places where you know that they have nothing to do in those areas. So how are we, the government, how are they, what measures are they putting in place to ensure that this thing, not just now it is coming to the west, who know where next is going to happen?
Mm.
All right. What are they coming out with to curb the situation?
Mm.
You see, they are not just, if we consider the amount that have been spent on buying of these, it enough, it can go far in ensuring that these people are tackled, but they are not doing anything about it, and that is why the thing is increasing.
Exactly. If nothing is done to this issue of insecurity in the country, because the two stories we are weighing on this table here today, they are things that if care is not taken, if they escalate, people will become displaced. I mean, if there's continuous bombing in a state or in a place, it will lead to displacement of people here and there. People
Imagine
would
a
not.
bombing in a wedding ceremony.
Mm.
How do you want someone else to carry out a wedding ceremony?
Of
So
course.
people will be marrying illegally.
Because as it is now, the Borno state government, they've declared the curfew. The fact remains that these people who are carrying out this suicide bombing, I'm coming back to the second story, but it's just reoccurring to me that the people who carry out this act, they know they are going to die.
Sure.
So definitely they won't wait for their victim to come to them. They would go to their victims. And the fact that they even mentioned that the community, this particular community where they are carrying out this act, there is an ISWAP community in that place. That is a good link for the DSS, the state police, whatever they want to employ, to go to them instead of waiting for them to come. Because these people, they will keep going about spreading this thing because they know that they have nothing to lose. They know they have nothing to lose. But also on the case of the kidnapping now. You know, at some point we are saying that the reason why food production is not booming is actually attributed to insecurity too.
Insecurities.
Now look at this local community, because of the area in which this thing had happened at Shagamu, it is a community where people carry out farming activities
Yeah.
as well. So now people would become so afraid. They wouldn't want to carry out their farming activity. They would prefer to stay in their houses. Before you know it, what become of their farmland? It's become something that the beast of the bush would feed on, what birds of the air will be feeding on. The farm produce would just be there with nobody to harvest them. So we see that the issue that the state government should be handling, they are not even handling
At
it,
all.
because usually we would always attribute most of this thing to the federal level, but there is DSS in this state, there's state security, there is local security in this community. What exactly are they doing? I think on insecurity we should start calling out all the security personnel,
Agencies.
the security agencies we have in all the states. Now this is the time that they have to put their head together, this is the time that they have to put their thoughts together to ensure that things are working. So if we leave this like this, then it will further displace people. People will stay back in their houses instead of going out to do the necessary things they have to do, because they can't even plow this road. And the funny thing is that we don't have most of our leaders plowing this road.
At all.
We don't have most of them working on this road, so they cannot feel what most of the individuals that are plying this road, what they are experiencing.
It was last time that the presidency was to come to Lagos, and this thing happened all the time. Anytime he's coming to Lagos, they will have to block some roads and ensure he passes through the good road, ensure he does not experience the traffic. Now, he should feel what Nigerians are feeling. Let him. So I was going to the mainland the other day. They had to block so many roads just for him to have a free passing. So if things that should be done, that should be given attention to by the presidency, by the federal government, is being done, I believe there will be no need for all that. All right, so it's a bad thing, and just like you spotted the case of food scarcity and all that, this thing, insecurity, has really contributed to the collapsing of this economy. All right, okay, was it not last time we had the case of some foreigners being kidnapped in Lagos? We've not heard about anything about those people till now. And gradually, now these people, now the kidnapping in Ogun State, it's not as if they were kidnapped on the highway that we say, okay, this. Who are these people that are behind this thing? All right, so the federal government has the capacity to tame this thing. Imagine where enemies have now built their tents, and it's not as if they are more in number. They are not more in number that you can say that, okay, you've tried and your strength cannot. Okay, instead of looking for foreign investors, if the Nigeria police, the army cannot handle the insecurity, why not get the US militaries to come in? At least let there be peace. Let the land be calm before you talk about invest. You won't even have to invite for the investors. They will come on their own, because Nigeria is a fertile land and everybody knows. So if the federal government really want to do something about this, it's not beyond them at all. We have trained police officers, we have the militaries. We know what these people can do, but nobody goes to war on his own accord. They must be released. They must be asked to go. And you see, this thing will be a forgotten issue.
Yeah. All right. On this note, this is all that we can take on this segment. We would like that you stay tuned with us. As soon as we get back, we'll dive into another conversation.